So I'm really excited for everybody to listen to this conversation with Ryan Larussa. This is our second time having him on, but he's changed teams recently. And, most people know him working for a prior mortgage company. He's now with a new mortgage company, but it's still the same Larussa team. And so it's important to know how he operates, what type of experience he has, and then all the cool things that his new company has to offer. And if you're in the mortgage business, you want to hear the new changes coming up in the industry, this is a great conversation for you to listen to. All right. Welcome back, Ryan Larussa, to the conversation with Courtney and I. We're talking about residential real estate today. Thanks for coming, buddy.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you having me.
I think you might be the first round two we've ever had.
Come on. Get back for an invite.
That means you see somebody special.
Well, you changed things up. It looks amazing. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thanks, man. We it's just like they were talking about, processes get better over time.
Hey,
and we've gotten much better at this game.
Mm-hmm. The repetitions help.
Yeah. I'm really excited to talk to my really good friend Ryan Larussa. Most people don't realize this, but he was my first loan officer before I even got in the business, and you killed it. Everybody talked highly of you back then. That was 10 years ago before I even got in the business.
Wow.
Yeah, Stephanie texted me. Actually, it was 9 years ago today. How funny is that?
Come on.
Stephanie texted me that today. She goes, 9-year resident of St. Tammany Parish. It was 9 years ago today we closed on that deal.
And now look at you.
Yeah, look at me now. That's funny. But you've had some recent changes too, so I'm really excited to talk about that. But I want to reintroduce people to you.
Yeah.
Because I think that, to me, again, special person to me, you're a good person individually, you're a great loan officer, and you're a great leader within your organization. So let's just start it and tell everybody a little bit about you and how long you've been doing this real estate deal.
Yeah, so been doing this real estate deal for a long time. I always tease, I started when I was 6, 25 years into the business. And, one of the biggest things that we are blessed and fortunate with is being able to help so many different people. It's amazing to be able to help you and your family, and just this business it's a relationship business, right? And I always say your partnerships or who you're involved with is going to dictate your success in your future. Unfortunately, it is what it is.
Sure.
You've got to be able to, in this environment, as much as it's changing, everybody's on their phone, everybody's trying to get the next best secret. But the truth of it is, when you boil it back down, it goes back to relationships.
Yep.
Who are you in a relationship with? What can you add value with? And kind of going back to me, I get a lot of the credit because I'm kind of the face, but I have an amazing team, and I don't take that for granted. These guys have been with me through thick and thin. We've been through floods, hurricanes, change of companies. We've been through a whole lot of different things. And then, you look around and it's all fine and dandy, but when stuff hits the fan, who do you have behind you? What relationships can you lean on and leverage to be able to help people in one of the most important financial decisions that they will ever make? And I think we have to kind of boil that back down to, people do this 3 to 5 times their entire life, right? And we get a fortunate piece to be a part of that. And so we don't take that for granted. So thank you for the cool comments. What a great spot. And I'm just looking forward to adding value today.
Yeah. So, 25 years into this.
Yep.
It's 2025.
Yep.
So you started in 2000.
Yep.
And that was a crazy year in and of itself. But the things that have happened between now and then, I think it says a lot about a person who's able to stick out this industry for so long. Because you have people who've been in the business for 10 years and it gets hard, and they decide they don't want to go through the stress again. Right now, being in 2025, where we're at, what type of opportunities are you seeing that are happening right now and what we're about to go through in this positively turning real estate market?
Yeah. So, the truth of the matter of it is, I don't like struggle. I don't like to see anybody struggle. But the last couple of years in our industry has been a huge struggle, so we went through
a lot of casualties,
a lot of people that thought, hey, the market made you look a lot better than what you were. If we were honest, all of us,
sure.
Loan officers, title companies, real estate agents that we partner with and we coach. And when you really boil it all down, you got to step back and be like, wow, the market was amazing. But the last 2.5, 3 years has been some of the toughest times that I've had to face. I've been through 2008, been through the flood of 2016, 5 hurricanes in a 3-year period. I've been through some wild stuff, but this is a tough business because there's so many things that are out of our hands, right?
Sure.
We have a buyer, we have a seller, we have a real estate agent, we have an underwriter, we have a lot of people involved, and we're trying to scram all this thing in a 30-day period, 20 of which of those are business days. So you have to have an unbelievable follow-up. You have to have an amazing team. If not, you're not going to hit the dates. And then, by the way, you have an emotional buyer and seller that are like, man, I'll pull out of this thing today, right? I'm tired of dealing with it.
Right.
So you have a lot of that going on. So you're kind of the counselor, and you're also trying to get this transaction to the finish line. So I think going back to what's your daily systems look like, who's on your team, are you in the right position? Meaning, hey, do I have the right organization that I'm aligned with? Do I have the right partners that I'm partnered with to help us get there? And does everybody have a clear, exact role? We meet, and like all my agents know this, my builders know this, the people that we do business with, we have a meeting every day. If I'm there, it doesn't matter. 9:30 every day, because those 20 to 25 or 30 clients that we're going to close this month, that's how important it is. We don't take that for granted. And I think a lot of times we get away from that and we're like, oh, well, yeah, that one's good to go. Was it really good to go?
Yeah.
Have we done a checkup? Today's Tuesday. Did we do our Tuesday updates? Did we follow up on Friday? Did we make sure everybody's expectations being met? Did we do the little bitty things that will make a big difference? And in this market, you got to do all of it.
Yeah. It's just funny you said that. So, and I know that you weren't doing all these things when you got into the business 25 years ago.
Sure.
Right? You started picking up on things. I had a similar realization. Title companies in the past would be waiting for people to reach out to you to make a decision or to start looking at something, right? You got 150 files in your system. You're kind of dealing with the ones that are the fires that are coming at you.
Sure.
And then when we started shifting that perspective and saying, okay, at least twice a week, we're going to look at every single file in our system.
Yep.
And we're going to be the one to proactively reach out and ask for an update from somebody else to make sure that everything's ready to go. I mean, it was a huge game changer for us, right? I mean,
That's also how you can close more business,
Oh my
because
God.
you're providing leadership in a situation that if there's you're taking more control than you are just saying, well, whatever happens to me today.
for sure.
And so that's also, I'm sure you guys saw that files that could have otherwise fizzled out, died off, whatever, you were then saying, hey, we're going to help drive this to the finish line. How can we help to do that?
You put 1 foot forward for every file every single day. And what it does is, in the past, when you would look at your file count, you would have X number of files, but you'd go back and really look at it, and you might have 10 or 15 dead files in there.
Yep.
So your team's mindset is, oh, I've got 10 or 15 more files than I have. I'm overwhelmed. When you go and you clean out those 15 and now their file count's down, their mindset and the type of personality they have is totally different because they feel like they have more control over it. And you as a business owner can project better what your month's going to look like or your year's going to look like because you are knowing your active files in your system.
Right.
Right. And like when you're a loan officer and you might have something in underwriting or trying to get into underwriting or a file that may be ready to go under contract or you're just lock a rate. If you miss a deadline on that, it's huge. And if you're looking at it daily, you avoid those things by going through your checklist in your system.
Yeah.
So having systems is super important. So one of the things I've learned over the last 4 or 5 years, more importantly than ever, is like it doesn't matter if you got 2 or you have 22. Everybody's treated the same. Here's our process. Here's our system. Here's what we do. And we know some of the greatest athletes, the greatest coaches, when you really peel it back, they have an unbelievable dialed-in system, right? And so that's kind of the way we look at it. It's super serious. We do not take it for granted. And then for our referral partners, I think they need to know that, hey, look, here is the system. If we are confident enough to hand over our paycheck, because that's essentially what they're doing. They're saying, hey, I'm trusting you with my paycheck. You got to deliver for not only for me to make me look good, to help the client, to get the best product for the client. Like all of those are big things that I think get overlooked. And the last couple years, I think it's really highlighted some areas of our business to where, man, you have to be able to do the entire package. You can't say, well, we dabble a little bit in this. You got to be able to offer everything. And if you can't offer everything, unfortunately, somebody else out there is. And then, you know, going back to what's keeping that client sticky to you and your relationship is your process. And if my clients know that when we have a 30-minute consultation up front, they understand the roadmap, our availability to get that person to the finish line is going to be 85 or 90% better. 65% of mortgage transactions, when folks are surveyed after the closing, said that it wasn't anything of what they thought, and it was a negative connotation.
Really?
So that's on my wall in my office. We are not going to be part of that 65%. It's that important to us to pay attention to every detail, to do the updates, to call the client. How are you feeling? Because if we were honest, Were you scared? I know I was scared when I bought my first house. I didn't know what the heck I was doing,
Yeah.
right? I was told to call this person and they were going to take you through the process. We can't take that for granted. After 25 years, we don't take that for granted. We're like, hey, man, this might be the only time that this person does it. And a first-time home buyer, if we treat them right, we should get 3 to 5 referrals off of that. So we look at that way, right? That is super important. What's my motivation if you're a real estate agent to send me businesses, to know that we're going to do such a good job that you both of you guys are going to get 3 to 5 more transactions to help more people. And if that's really what we're in the business to do, it's a people business, we got to help more people.
Yeah.
So I actually believe we're not in the people business.
Okay.
I believe that we're actually in the business of promises. And your promise that you're saying is, I can help you get X, Y, Z. And it's how you deliver that promise helps really cement those relationships. Because people all day long, like I definitely get the sentiment of the people business part, but it's truly more of for me, it's on that promise part. It's so many people can be very transactional, and they don't care about the process. They're like, the means justify the end, right? Like let's just be sloppy and hustle, right? But I really appreciate your methodical approach to it, that you're saying, hey, we want a repeatable, dependable process that people can lean on and trust. Because at the end of the day, just because people like you and know you, so maybe they're familiar enough with you that they're like, oh, I know Ryan Lynn's, let me call him about this. But at the same time, people want for you to be competent and trustworthy. If you're trustworthy, they like you, trust you. But if you're not competent, they're gonna be like, I like him, but I don't know if he'll get this done. Right. And if you're competent, like you can get it done, but you're not trustworthy, that you got to be both. And so I think that I love that you talk about how you want to respect and keep front of mind that it's like, this could be sometime the only time someone buys a house, or maybe it's the last time they buy a house or something like that. Those things matter. It's you can tell that you lead from a big picture, but also trying to not forget the little parts that are so important as well.
Yeah, so I think that kind of goes back to the team aspect of like they don't like me to highlight them, but when from a leader standpoint, and then I have Adam and Saida, which are on my teams, and we all touch different groups of people. As a leader, I have to know, hey, this personality is going to be better suited with an Adam or a Saida because they're younger and they can jive. Like, that's fine. We all win, right? Everybody wins if we get the client what they feel is the best personality to match what they're looking for. And then go a step back when you have somebody, a couple ladies behind you that can get that file from contract to close without you having to worry about, oh my goodness, what's going on here? The national average of a loan officer closes 1 to 2 loans a month. That's the average. But if you look back over the last 6 months, there's a lot of guys and gals out of the business because they didn't close any deals. So going back to the big picture, we don't take that for granted. We match personalities, which relationships we think is important. And then we explain, hey, look, if I'm tied up in a meeting or doing something like this, here's my entire team. People like to know that, hey, we don't just have one person. If I need something on the night or the weekend or whatever, my guy's going to be available. My girls are going to be available to get you what you need. Yeah. Which is that goes back to what's your why? Like, why would I use you? I hear that this is a guy that I should use, but like, really, what's your value proposition? What are you bringing to the table? What makes you different? Because there's a ton of agents, there's a ton of loan officers, and there's a ton of title companies. I mean, it just is what it is. What can we do to provide value and then get the repeat business, which we all say on our business cards, we love referrals, right? Don't we? But what are we doing to get the referral? Yeah. We can't just expect it. We got to provide something in order to get it.
Most business cards say the biggest compliment you can give is a referral. But here's the thing. Compliments are not guaranteed.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
I mean, you have to earn a compliment. Amen. I mean, how hard is it to give people people don't naturally give compliments. Sure. And so same thing with referrals, right? Yep. It has to be earned. It's not given.
That's great.
So it's funny because I'm thinking back on the time how we got connected.
Sure.
Was John Heatherly.
Yeah.
After you had just closed on his house. And he was like, yeah, man, you need to call this guy. And Julie was my agent. And, something that always sticks out in my head with you and with Miss Julie Jenkins in Baton Rouge is the amount of communication. If you remember, she was on a cruise the week or so when we were doing inspections and everything for my closing. She was hanging out of the side of a cruise ship on the phone getting things done. But I mean,
The
that's
fact that she could call on, what was that, Wi-Fi or something?
Yeah,
I'm
she-
like,
10 years ago, man, we come a long
this is a
way.
landline. That's a landline with a cord. No, I'm just kidding.
So let's. I know we talked a lot about you and your team, and it's important because I think it is true that when you build a solid relationship, you have a great team and a great process. No matter where the loan officer goes, the relationship's with them.
Yep.
But the back end for you also is important because it helps you put your foot forward and have a system you can rely on. And you recently made a transition.
Yep.
And I think it's important for everybody to know why Synergy One.
Yeah.
And who Synergy One is and what the new brand behind the Larussa team is. Because again, the Larussa team hasn't changed.
Right.
Right. But the brand that supports you has. So tell us about Synergy One.
Yeah. So look, it was a great ride. Been doing this a long time. Got a lot of great relationships, and GMFS was very gracious. We sat down and we said, "Hey, look, moving forward, you guys are going this direction. We're going this direction." But 3 words that kept going back to me is speed, ease, and expertise. Speed, ease, and expertise was the reason why we chose, Synergy One. And in today's market, they're based out of San Diego. I'm here in Louisiana. They do business all across the country in 50 different states. But you don't really understand what's going on in different markets until you visit different markets. Yeah. And the West Coast, there is no such thing as a 30-day close. It is a 10 or 15-day close, no financing contingencies, no appraisals, appraisal gaps, all kinds of stuff. I'm like, what is going on? But going back to the speed, ease, and expertise, there is a lot of technology. And and you and I talked about this. I was scared to death of AI and technology and all this stuff. I'm like, what does that have to do with mortgages? It has everything to do with mortgages. When you can train systems into knowing, literally I can type in the information and it can tell me where that loan can go, how it can go, what's needed to go there within seconds. That's the speed. The ease is being able to get the borrower from here to there within this timeline, online application, uploading docs, getting automatic approvals, being able to do things that you just are like, is anybody really able to do that? Because it sounds, in theory, it sounds great.
Yeah.
But could you really close a loan in 8 or 9 days? And when you start seeing that be done, that was super important for us and our clients and our referral partners. And look, you said this, and I think it's important. You might know me, like me, and trust me, but it's still got to be able to prove that what you're saying is true, because my paycheck and my client's, moving his family from California to here or from Baton Rouge to Covington or whatever, we got to be able to deliver. Yeah. And so those were some of the things that as we sit back and look, and this, and I don't shy away from this, I'm coached with some guys. And so my expectation is, I'm not Nick Saban, but I love his mentality of like, if the baseline is here, we're operating here. We're bringing energy every single day. And the expectation is I don't care what everybody else is doing. What are you doing to add value? So we saw a lot of the technology and a lot of the tools. And I think as you kind of step back, you hear, well, they're doing this in this market and we're not doing that. That's an opportunity. That's a disruption that we need to be able to do. And so some of those things have come true, man, and it's been a great marriage. Look, my coach tells me this all the day. There's no perfect mortgage company, no perfect insurance company, and certainly no perfect mortgage company in the grand scheme of things. What are you doing to be out in front to add value to your clients and to your referral partners? We felt that was the best move. And so 31 of us made that jump in our team. And look, it's been great. Yeah. But there's bumps. There's bumps in any business, right? There's going to be growing pains. There's going to be opportunities that are going to come up. And that was just kind of the reason why we made the change. But kudos to those guys. They gave us a great opportunity. This move has been fantastic, and looking forward to the future.
Yeah, so I mean, phone numbers are the same. Email addresses might be a little different, but like it's still the same team, similar process. Y'all's back end's a little more efficient.
Yep.
And so y'all are able to operate even smoother for y'all's clients. So 8-day turnarounds on all y'all's files.
We're not going to say that. But I tell you one thing that I did learn through this transition is being able to have control. Like, oh, wait a minute, they're in San Diego. But big picture, when you look at companies that are doing high efficiency but good touch, they have different pods across the country, which I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. So if we come in and it's 4:00 here, guess what time it is out west? It's 2:00. So you've always got people working and doing. And so you're like, okay, that's a little bit different. And then you have different product mixes that, hey, in California, you got to be investor heavy. You got to be able to have some DSCR. You got to be able to have some, creative financing, because if you don't, guess what? Most properties out there are $1 million, $2 million, $10 million, right? And so jumbo, DSCR, some of the HELOC programs that I wasn't able to offer, now we're able to offer, come up with creative solutions to be able to close a loan without saying, well, I'm sitting at a 3%, Jared, and I really don't want to sell. Well, have you thought about the buy before you sell option, which we were able to do? We were able to think about, get creative versus saying, well, that's really not something we can do today. Agents don't want to hear that. No. Buyers don't want to hear that. Look, the buyer's on the phone with me because they want to figure out a solution to the problem. So come up with creative solutions.
Cool. The last thing I ever want to say is no. I want to be like, might not be what we want to do, but here's an option we can do.
There's always a yes. You might not like the way we have to perform that yes, but there's always going to be a solution for it.